across the vast landscapes of the Earth, from frozen tundras to sun-drenched savannas, from dense tropical canopies to winding rivers. Raptors forge lives defined by precision, power, and patience. Each flap of wings, every step, every claw strike is a story of survival. Winter's scarcity tests resilience. With the first whispers of spring, the skies light up with courtship displays, spiral flights, talon plays, synchronized calls. The nests are meticulously built and fiercely defended. The chicks must race against time. In time, they too will have to take him to the heavens. Summer brings with it frantic hunting lessons. Autumn tempers these lessons with preparation for the tougher months ahead. In this ever-changing theater, these raptors rise as supreme hunters of the skies. Today we will reveal their stories. We begin in the snowy peaks of the northern mountains. Under a sky painted pale gold, the peaks extend infinitely. Irregular ridges rise like frozen waves, sprinkled with ice and shade. Here, where the wind cuts and the air grows thin, life is scarce but fierce. With the first light of day, a figure emerges from a rock, a golden eagle, Aquila chrysitos, with its wingspan of over 2 meters, glides silently. Each flap of its powerful wings is measured, fluid, almost majestic. Its feathers gleam in the rising sun, a mosaic of bronze and gold edged in black. Amber eyes pierce the landscape. These eyes are nearly twice the size of a human's and are finely tuned to detect the slightest movement from over 2 kilometers away. Its 2-meter wingspan rests folded along a body designed for ambush. Dense muscles lie beneath elegant dark plumage. Below, on a rocky ledge dotted with lichens and shadows, a marmot emerges from its burrow. His whiskers are moving. His nose lifts. She sniffs the cool breeze, oblivious to the silent silhouette fixed above her. The eagle narrows its eyes, its pupils constricting into fierce points. Then, in a single fluid movement, its wings close tightly against its sides and the eagle descends. Gravity takes over the body instantly. The bird gains speed as it falls. It is estimated to reach 150 kilometers per hour. The feathers lock into place, creating a narrow, streamlined shape. The wind rises in a sharp hiss along the curve of its hooked beak. A final adjustment of the tail and the talons open from underneath. Each claw is the size of a man's thumb. They are curved like polished ivory scythes and can exert more than 250 kilos of pressure. The marmot barely turns when the impact reaches her. A blur of feathers, a cloud of dust. The claws close on her ribs, holding her helplessly as she shrieks and kicks. The eagle's wings opened again, catching the updrafts. It rises in a heavy, deliberate ascent, the weight of the marmot hanging below. The bird spins in the updraft, beating its immense wings with firmness. Reaching a cliff high above the valley, the eagle lands with a single controlled leap. Its claws remain trapped around the marmot. The prey kicks once more, then lies still as the eagle lowers its head. The hooked beak, keratin as sharp as a blade, sinks in with brutal precision. A tuft of hair is carried away by the wind. Another bite follows, and then another. A few distant crows circle overhead. One dares to approach. A threatening scream is heard. The wings open. The intruder leaves. At midday, the eagle perches atop a steep cliff, its wings outstretched to catch the rising thermals. The air vibrates with currents of heat and cold. It raises its feathers, cleans its talons with sharp movements, and scans the valleys below. There is always danger, always a competitor. At this moment, a shadow looms over the ridge, a rival eagle. This is an intrusion into defended airspace. The resident eagle raises its head, narrowing its amber eyes. A deep guttural screech vibrates from its chest. This is a signal, leave now or fight. The intruder is getting closer and closer. The resident eagle advances along the cliff, its wings slightly spread, its body casting a long shadow on the rocks. Then, with a sudden jerk, it launches itself upward. Its rival responds instantly. Both ascend in a sinuous spiral. They climb faster and faster, each trying to maintain their top position. The resident eagle leans sharply upwards. The intruder struggles, hitting harder, falling half a wingspan lower. This is all the openness the resident needs. It folds its wings slightly, a controlled dive into its rival's path. Its talons extend. They collide in a burst of feathers. For an instant they twist, spiraling downward, talons grazing their scaly legs, wings unfurling for balance. The opponent screams. Then comes the decisive move. The resident eagle doesn't sink its talons into its rival's body, but rather into the edge of its wing, right where the bone meets the muscle. A precise grip. With a powerful downward flap, the resident forces its rival to yield its wing. The opponent falls, somersaulting sideways in the wind, struggling to regain control. It flicks its tail, beating it frantically, managing to catch a sliver of rising air. The resident remains above, wings fully extended. With another dive, it gets close enough to graze the opponent's back. This isn't an attack per se, but rather a warning strike. The intruder bends down sharply and flees upwind. The resident eagle soars for a moment. It circles its territory, claiming the silence, the open air, the wind-sculpted cliffs that are its home. When it finally descends, it lands exactly where it started, next to the half-eaten marmot. The days go by. Spring arrives slowly. The snow melts in heaps, retreating into hidden crevices and ravines, revealing craggy cornices and cliffs sculpted by the wind. Streams gurgle over the stone, forming fragments of silver that glimmer in the dim sunlight. Golden eagles emerge from these cliffs. One by one, enormous silhouettes soared through the rising thermals, their wingspans nearly 2.5 meters, their feathers shimmering in bronze and gold in the morning light. The courtship begins with aerial displays. The pairs spiral through the sky, their wings brushing against each other. The claws briefly meet on a delicate tuft in mid-air. They twist and swoop, flying dangerously close to cliffs and gusts of wind, their bodies intertwined in a dance. High on the cliffs, nests await. They are enormous structures of branches and moss. Soft vegetation lines the interior, strands of hair, pastures, feathers collected throughout the seasons. These nests are reused and repaired for decades. Inside, the eggs lie, pale and mottled, gleaming faintly in the sunlight. Each shell holds the promise of the next generation. As the eagles continue their dances, the wind shifts, carrying the distant call of another pair. As the eggs hatch, the juveniles emerge, blind and fragile. The parents provide them with meat, butchering their prey into precise, manageable pieces. Weeks pass as the chicks grow, their feathers growing downwards and their wings spreading towards the sky. The training begins in earnest. The parents guide the chicks to nearby ridges. They encourage animals to pounce on unsuspecting prey. Success is fleeting. Failure is common. However, every misstep is a step closer to mastery. By the end of summer, the fledglings put their wings to the test, spiraling and diving, learning to interpret thermals and currents. The competition is fierce. The crows, bold and cunning, often try to snatch scraps. Other golden eagles patrol overlapping territories, sometimes leading to fierce duels. Winter returns with a stark inevitability. The peaks harden beneath the snow and ice. Prey is scarce. Golden eagles move to the lower valleys, chasing hares and rabbits through the frost. Thermal currents are weaker. The days are shorter. Each flight requires more energy. Yet even in scarcity, the eagle moves with determination. It perches on a windswept ridge, talons gripping the rock, eyes scanning for any movement. Below, marmots slink away, rabbits freeze in shadow, and the eagle waits. Minutes tick by. Then a flash of movement. The ladder begins again, as it has for countless generations. Not far away, another bird of prey begins its day. The river lies frozen beneath a steely grey sky, much like a ribbon of ice snaking through snow-laden forests. The frost sparkles on the pine needles. The cold feels like it's stinging on exposed skin here, in the remote reaches of northern North America. Above the ice, a shadow moves, its wings spread, catching the weak currents of the frigid morning air. A bald eagle, Haliaeetus leucocephalus. Its white head contrasts with its dark plumage. Its yellow beak is sharp and curved, and its eyes, like molten amber, scrutinize every ripple. It hovers motionless, beating its wings in controlled bursts. Below, a thin strip of open water gleams like molten silver. The scales of the fish glimmer faintly beneath the surface. The bald eagle perches on a frost-covered branch, its wings half spread and its talons curled in the rough bark. Its pale, piercing eyes scan the ripples with extraordinary acuity. Each student can detect the subtle distortion of the water caused by a fish. With a sudden plunge, its wings fold tightly against its body and the eagle descends. The wind whistles past its hooked beak and its talons extend forward. A trout emerges to the surface. The water bursts in a frozen arc as the eagle's talons grip it. The fish squirms, but the grip is relentless. The eagle beats its enormous wings, rising from the river, lifting the slippery weight. Nearby, another eagle spots the prize and swoops down from the sky, its wings slicing through the icy air. Sharp cries echo through the river valley. A warning, a challenge. The claws flash in the air. The claws scrape against each other. The first eagle adjusts its grip, turning slightly to protect the fish, wings ready for the icy gusts. With one last authoritative cry, the intruder retreats, spiraling toward a distant perch. The victorious eagle circles, scanning the frigid waters once more. Her claws are still tightened around her shiny prize. The eagle perches on a sturdy pine tree, its feathers ruffled in the wind. It preens itself, aligning each feather, brushing its plumage with its beak. Its eyes constantly scan the horizon. The young birds cling nearby, clumsy and brown-feathered, swaying on the branches. The patrols arrive in the afternoon. The eagle soars above the frozen expanse, talons tucked in, and beak slightly open to let out a piercing cry. From below, shadows stir, rabbits among the undergrowth, the occasional fox that dares to approach. The eagle rises above them all. The days go by. The seasons change. Winter is the season for courtship. On the ice, the pairs perform aerial passes and somersaults, their talons briefly intertwined in mutual displays of strength and trust. They exchange fish in mid-air. These rituals solidify bonds that can last for decades. The nests are enormous. They are made of sticks and lined with moss and feathers. Each year, these nests are repaired, enlarged, and reinforced against the wind and snow. Inside, the eggs gleam like tiny pearls in the moss-covered hollows. Hunting is shared between the parents. One patrols, scouring the rivers for open water and fish. The other one stays near the nest, guarding the young. They carefully transport their food through the snow, sometimes dragging it if the prey is too heavy, thus conserving energy. Young birds watch intently, absorbing the technique and rhythm, mimicking falls onto sticks and flapping their wings as they learn to balance in the air. Between 10 and 12 weeks, they attempt their first independent dives. Competition is constant, but rarely fatal. Other bald eagles patrol overlapping territories. Occasionally, a confrontation escalates into an aerial display. Ospreys hunt in the same rivers, sometimes prompting warning cries or brief chases. Even in the harshest storms, the bald eagle endures. The snow swirls, ice forms on once vibrant streams, and temperatures plummet. Yet it perches resolutely, feathers ruffled against the wind, eyes unblinking, scanning the river for any prey or threat. But this too shall pass. As spring approaches, the ice recedes. The young birds, already learning to coordinate their wings and talons, attempt longer dives, adjusting their speed and angle with surprising dexterity. Their parents guide them. By summer, the young birds are fully feathered, with outstretched wings, ready talons, and keen eyesight. They test the thermals, learn about the currents, and begin to assert themselves. In autumn, the riverbank becomes a mosaic of frozen channels and open water. The adults adapt their hunting patterns, optimizing their energy and time. The silhouette of the eagle, a blend of white head, dark body, and golden-brown wings, cuts through the landscape. The youth players follow them from a distance. Even as night falls, painting the snowy river in soft shades of pink and gold, the bald eagle remains vigilant. Its calls echo across the ice and the pines. Night will bring rest, but the rhythm of survival remains unbroken. Tomorrow it will hunt, soar, defend itself, and teach again. The next raptor dominates the skies for miles to the south, deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. Where the world is a cathedral of green, sunlight filters through layers of foliage. It is scattered in mottled patterns along moss-covered trunks and lianas. The air is heavy with humidity and smells of wet earth. A faint whisper signals movement above the forest floor. Perched on a huge branch of an emerging tree, almost hidden among the shadows and leaves, a huge raptor sits down, a harpy eagle, harpier, harpier. Its dark grey back blends perfectly with the canopy, while the crest of feathers on its head bristles slightly at the slightest disturbance. Its powerful, dark and piercing eyes scan the forest. The raptor is looking for monkeys swinging through the vines, or sloths clinging motionless to tree trunks. Muscles tense beneath layers of elegant feathers, the eagle remains motionless. Suddenly, a sudden change. A howler monkey drops a branch laden with fruit. Instantly, the harpy eagle swoops down. It beats its wings with explosive force. The claws, each over 13 centimeters long, extend like scythes. The eagle swoops down, seizing the monkey with a decisive blow. The prey struggles, digging its talons into the eagle's chest, chattering its teeth, but the eagle's strength is overwhelming. In a matter of seconds, the fight is over. The harpy rises, carrying its prey. It perches on a nearby high branch. There he tears apart his food. A single catch can sustain him and his mate for days. Around her, birds chatter, insects buzz, and monkeys freeze. The harpy eagle keeps a watchful eye. Other birds of prey keep their distance, but competition is always possible. Territorial boundaries are respected, though sometimes challenged. The courtship of the harpy eagles is a slow and dramatic ballet. The pairs gather in the quiet spaces between the large, braced trunks of the rainforest. They soar together. Their wingspan exceeds 2 meters. Grey plumage billows along their bodies, crowned by a dark crest that rises and falls with every change of mood and intention. Male circles come first, slow, deliberate. Its talons, thick as a man's fist, curl beneath him with restrained strength. The larger, heavier female follows with a steady rhythm. They spiral, tracing patient loops above the canopy, navigating the rising thermals. Their gazes never waver from one another. Then, with a sudden drop in altitude, the distance shortens. The claws extend, but not aggressively. They touch in mid-air, a brief but profound contact. For an instant, they melt into a delicate embrace, twisting in the air. It is not reckless. It is precise, controlled, deeply intimate, a test of strength, a measure of confidence. Their feathers brush against each other. Their wings beat in unison, imperfect but practiced, and for a few seconds suspended, they circle in the sunlight. At the last moment, they release, correcting with sweeping wing movements. They rise again, continuing the ritual in circular arches. The minutes tick by. The dance goes on. As the display ends, their alliance is renewed. Nest construction continues high in the emergent trees that dominate the rainforest canopy. Here, 80 meters above the ground, they build a platform of thick branches, each one carried through the dense vegetation. The nest grows to reach more than 1 meter in diameter. It's heavy enough to bend the branches that support it, and it's covered with softer materials, leaves, moss, and fresh green twigs. It will be reused year after year, repaired and expanded. It's a lifelong home for a couple. From this high cradle emerges a chick in each breeding season, only one. This fragile chick receives the undivided attention of 2 of the world's most powerful birds of prey. At first, it is enveloped in soft white feathers, its legs too weak to support its own weight, and its beak soft and pale. The parents take turns caring for it. One remains in the nest, protecting the chick from rain, sun, and lurking threats. The other ventures into the forest to hunt, moving among the branches with uncanny silence. They return with prey: monkeys, sloths, opossums, and birds plucked from the canopy. Back at the nest, they deliver the food in precise portions, carefully crumbled to satisfy the chick's needs. At first, small bites. Bigger cuts as the days go by. Weeks turn into months. The chick grows. Down gives way to mottled juvenile plumage. Its wings begin to lengthen, heavy and clumsy at first. It stretches them out cautiously, flapping in short, awkward bursts that make loose leaves swirl from the edge of the nest. Its claws, still dull, grip the branches with growing confidence. Balance becomes her first real challenge. The nest sways in the wind. Rain trickles down the branches. Gusts shake the canopy. Still, the young harpy strives to face each test. Strength is with her. The muscles in her chest and back tense. Her movements sharpen. Adults perch nearby and make short flights. The young harpy eagle stands on the edge of its imposing nest. The wind filters through its feathers, darkening them and raising them in small, nervous ripples. The chick spreads its wings, now broader, powerful, but still untested. They tremble slightly as he extends them to their full length. The muscles in its chest tense, strengthened day by short leaps, frantic flapping, and clumsy balancing acts on creaking branches. It leans forward, clinging to the edge with talons that are finally sharp enough to command respect. Below, the canopy sways in slow waves. It seems impossibly far away. The chick tilts its head, its eyes fixed on a rising current of air as it spirals upward among the trees. It has seen its parents read these invisible rivers of air. Now it must read them alone. A reassuring call echoes from a nearby branch. The mother watches. She will not intervene. She will not persuade him. This moment must be for the chick. The father flies in circles. The young eagle tests its wings again. A flap. It retreats. Then the wind picks up. A clean, steady gust lifts the feathers on its back. The chick leans forward and its claws loosen their grip. One more breath. One more look at the sky. Then push. For a fraction of a second, gravity grabs him. The forest rises at full speed. The air scratches its feathers. Panic grips it. The chick flaps wildly, unevenly, desperately. Its first movements are clumsy, making it wobble to one side. It beats its wings with frantic force. His body leans forward, but then balance. The wings capture the air correctly. The angle changes. The chick stabilizes, taking advantage of the air current it had previously sensed. It slides. The mother swoops down from her perch, flying alongside. The father joins her, forming a loose triangle around the chick. The flight intensifies with each passing second. The bird climbs even higher, riding a thermal that propels it upward, turned towards the emerging trees, describing a circle before descending. The landing will be the real test. It approaches a thick branch just below the nest, adjusting its angle as it has seen its parents do countless times. The air whistles over its claws as it extends them toward the bark. The grip is clumsy, imperfect. For an instant it slips, scratching with its claws, but instinct shifts its weight and the claws bite deeper. The feathers rustle, the wings fold tightly. The chick stabilizes itself. Upstairs, the parents make low, resonant calls. The flight is just the beginning. Survival requires mastery of hunting. First, he watches his mother. She perches silently on a vine-wrapped log, her wings tightly folded and her crest feathers slightly raised in concentration. Below her, a three-toed sloth clings to a branch, oblivious to the danger. She falls. The wings burst open at the last possible moment to force a path through a narrow corridor of leaves. Its claws strike with explosive precision. The sloth barely has time to turn its head before being lifted into the air. The return flight is heavy but steady. She lands next to the chick and offers it the predetermined catch. In the following days, the young eagle observes how they tilt their heads to detect movement in the branches. It studies how they shift their weight before taking off, how they interpret the movement of a tail or the movement of a monkey's arm. A capuchin monkey miscalculates a jump one afternoon and lands noisily on a branch. The father is already moving, coiling like a compressed spring. He dives into the tangles of vines, wings half-folded, silent as a drifting leaf. The monkey reacts too late. Claws close, wings open, and the forest echoes with a brief cry that is never repeated. The chick stores these images and gives them form instinctively. It practices only when the adults go out to hunt. Its first attempts are clumsy. Each day, its movements become sharper. Its balance improves. The jumps become controlled falls. Its small glides lengthen into safe arcs through open spaces between the trees. But the canopy is not a peaceful classroom. A shadow moves along the forest wall. Another raptor hovers low, drawn by the remains of prey. The father reacts instantly. A warning call echoes through the air, wings spread, projecting a broad silhouette that dwarfs the intruder. The intruder hesitates, but does not back down. In a burst of fury, they collide. They spiral together, falling dangerously close to the undergrowth before separating. The clash is brief but violent. The intruder flies away quickly, tail feathers ruffled, the flock wounded. The father returns, agitated, and with his feathers ruffled in a display of dominance. From its perch, the chick watches with wide, unblinking eyes. Strength, territory, defense, lessons. The young eagle practices gripping thicker branches, tests the strength of its talons on the rough bark, and spreads its wings in powerful bursts until the air gathers firmly beneath them. It begins to chase moving shadows along the canopy. It flies at low altitude and rises just before the collision. He miscalculates distances. He corrects the angles too much. The brushes make too much noise when brushing the leaves. Every mistake shapes the skill. Day by day, the forest teaches. As evening falls, the jungle transforms. Cicadas rise in raucous choruses. Tree frogs croak through the dim light. Silent monkeys huddle high in the branches. The mother settles near the nest, her feathers ruffled by the cool air. The father patrols the upper canopy. The chick perches in a tangle of branches not far from the nest. It carefully adjusts its wings, folding them slowly and methodically. Its talons curl around the bark. Its gaze scans the forest, absorbing every movement, every shadow, every rustle of the leaves. The night deepens. The silhouette of the young harpy fades into the darkness, but her eyes remain bright, alert, and steady. The first flight may be behind her, but the real work, the art of the hunt, the art of survival, has only just begun. He will try again tomorrow. A longer glide, a taller hanger, a real chase. Meanwhile, far to the east, the first light of dawn spills over rugged cliffs, painting them in soft pink and gold. Down below, the waves crash against the rocks, spraying salt and fog into the cold air. In some cities, the sun rises on glass and steel. Here, the cliffs and buildings become hunting grounds. Perched on a ledge, motionless and balanced, is a peregrine falcon, Falco peregrinus. Slate-grey wings embrace its slender body, its barred belly taut and ready. Its dark, intense eyes scrutinize every hint of movement among the pigeons strutting below. The muscles tense beneath the soft feathers. The air is still, broken only by distant cries and the whisper of the wind over the stone. A pigeon flutters in the open. The falcon's body contracts, then it releases. Its wings fold in an aerodynamic sweep. The descent begins. More than 320 kilometers per hour, according to estimates. The claws, conical and razor-sharp, extend. The dove thrashes, but it's too late. An attack in midair scatters its feathers like snow. The hawk halts its descent, spreading its wings at the last instant, seizing its prey with its talons. Once secured, it carries the dove to a narrow ledge or crevice. There, it tears apart with practiced efficiency. The remains are stored in narrow hollows for later. The surrounding air shimmers with the heat of rising thermals. A second falcon appears, a rival, its wings folded for speed. A brief display of dominance asserts ownership of the territory. The challenger backs down, knowing that there is a lot at stake. The afternoon passes on patrol, wings outstretched, gliding along the cliffs or over the city blocks, talons sheathed, eyes scanning for prey or intruders. Below, pigeons scatter nervously. Crows caw from the rooftops. Hawks patrol the sky. Spring awakens the peregrine falcon in new ways. The courtship is a breathtaking display of aerial prowess. The pairs chase each other through the sky and air currents, spiraling and twisting, briefly brushing talons in a delicate dance. They exchange food mid-flight, a fish, a pigeon, or a small mammal. These displays last for minutes, sometimes longer. Nesting occurs in cliff hollows or on urban ledges. The eggs gleam pale and fragile amidst scrapes of feathers and grit. In 5 weeks, the chicks hatch, blind and fragile, but genetically predisposed to speed and aerial mastery. The parents feed tirelessly, alternating between hunting and guarding. The chicks grow at an astonishing rate, replacing their down with sleek developing feathers. Their wings lengthen, their claws sharpen, their instincts awaken. Lessons come quickly. Descents from low perches, grasping exercises in midair and reading air currents. But the competition is relentless. Crows and gulls swoop down, dive and harass. Hawks test the limits of their territory with swift chases. Other peregrine falcons patrol nearby cliffs or rooftops, challenging with their crouching movements. In cities, humans are an unpredictable element. Noise, movement, and occasional interference add complexity to the hunt. However, the hawk adapts. Nightfall brings a change of pace. The hawk preens itself, meticulously aligning its feathers, gripping the rock or concrete ledge with its talons. Its cry, a sharp, resonant shout, announces its presence. The sky turns pink and orange. The shadows lengthen. A juvenile hawk perches nearby, observing, practicing balance, wings that move as a sign of mimicry, test coordination. The adults allow themselves a brief period of independence, watching as the chicks attempt short descents, sometimes missing their prey, sometimes succeeding. Urban life and natural cliffs converge in this species. Peregrine falcons take advantage of the verticality of their environment. The cornices of the skyscrapers mimic the faces of the cliffs. Open courtyards replace meadows. As night approaches, the hawk perches on a high ledge. Its wings fold, its feathers ruffled slightly in the cool air. Its gaze remains alert, attentive to the slightest disturbance. Below, the river's waves shimmer in the moonlight. The prey rests, the rivals retreat, silence reigns. Tomorrow there will be hunts, raids, courtship displays, and territorial patrols again. Far to the north, another bird of prey reigns. The Arctic tundra stretches endlessly, a frozen canvas of white and grey. The snowfields sculpt the landscape. The winds lash across the arid plains. Irregular rock outcrops punctuate the monotony. The air is sharp and cutting. Visibility is constantly changing. Sometimes the sun reflects off the ice. Other times a blizzard sweeps across the horizon, hiding prey under white sheets. Perched atop one of the few exposed rocky ridges is a gerfalcon, Falco rusticulus. Its plumage, a mottled palette of slate, silver and white, blends seamlessly with the snow and stone. With its broad wings folded and talons curled into the rough rock, it silently observes. Below, the snow hides a ptarmigan. Its white winter plumage is the perfect camouflage. The gerfalcon's eyes, dark and relentless, scrutinize every movement, every shadow that betrays life beneath the snow. Muscles tense under the dense feathers, a slight lift of the wing, a tilt of the head. Then the descent. Gravity accelerates the bird. Folded wings nearby, feathers cutting through the icy air. The claws extend with millimeter precision. The ptarmigan doesn't stand a chance. One strike, talons close around its small body. The hawk lands on a snowy rock, ruffling its feathers, talons gripping tightly. It swoops down on its prey with methodical efficiency. The Arctic demands patience. Storms arrive without warning. The snow falls horizontally and visibility is reduced to a few meters. The gerfalcon hunches its body to conserve heat. Its metabolism subtly slows to save energy. Every movement is deliberate. Hunting in these conditions tests both endurance and skill. Sometimes the falcon waits for hours, perched and motionless. Eyes squint to catch the faintest ripple of life beneath the snow. Winter is harsh and unforgiving. Food is scarce. Hunting becomes relentless. Territories are fiercely defended. A rival may appear. Another gerfalcon or a prowling Arctic fox drawn by scent. A warning call cuts through the cold air. Hard, penetrating, demanding respect. Occasionally, an aerial confrontation occurs, talons flash, wings beat fiercely against the wind, and each competitor asserts its dominance without taking unnecessary risks. Courtship among these birds is an extraordinary spectacle. Pairs perform flight displays, wings spread wide, flying in a spiral over the snow-covered fields. The calls echo through the valleys. Food exchanges are ritualized. A falcon presents a freshly caught ptarmigan in mid-flight, briefly touching talons together. These displays strengthen the pair bond. Nesting begins with the arrival of spring, when the ice recedes from the exposed rocks and the tundra recedes. The nests are built in crevices or on cliff ledges. They are covered in moss, feathers, and lichen. The chicks emerge slowly, blind and fragile, their soft plumage blending in with the rocky substrate. The parents alternate between hunting and guarding. Every meal is crucial. The prey is divided carefully. The days go by. The feathery feathers give way to juvenile plumage. The wings lengthen. The muscles get stronger. Free-diving lessons begin with shallow dives, often over stationary or slow-moving targets. The youngsters watch their parents closely, learning rhythm, trajectory, and the subtle art of aerodynamics in cold, dense air. Miscalculations are common. The dam slips, the claws fail, but every mistake teaches. The Arctic presents constant challenges. Snowstorms can erase tracks, bury prey, and impair visibility. However, the gerfalcon adapts, adjusting its hunting techniques, modifying its flight paths, and conserving energy when necessary. Its dense, insulating plumage provides it with protection. Its keen eyesight penetrates vast, white expanses where the untrained eye sees nothing. Territorial disputes extend beyond those of other gerfalcons. Ravens, crows, and even scavenging Arctic foxes test its limits, drawn by carcasses or the remains of prey. Often an attack or a display of claws is enough to deter intruders. However, occasionally the confrontation escalates, requiring bursts of agility and air power. These interactions reinforce social hierarchies and ensure that resources remain in the hands of the fittest, those capable of surviving the harsh conditions. Young people gradually move from observation to action. Their first attempts at diving are clumsy. However, with each attempt, they refine their technique. Their parents provide subtle encouragement, a jump from above, captured prey thrown within reach, a call signaling an opportunity. By late spring, the chicks are practicing independent hunting. As summer progresses, the tundra subtly changes. The snow recedes from the valleys, streams flow beneath the melting ice, and vegetation emerges in fleeting abundance. The gyrfalcon takes advantage of this period for intense hunting and raising its chicks. Energy intake increases to support the chicks' growth, but they must also prepare for the shortages that are coming in winter. Prey becomes more abundant, but vigilance remains constant. The land may appear tranquil, but every shadow could conceal a potential danger or opportunity. Evening falls quickly at these high latitudes. The wind picks up, temperatures plummet, and shadows lengthen across the tundra. The adult gyrfalcon perches high above, claws gripping the rock, eyes scanning for the day's latest movements. Its silhouette against the dim light is powerful and determined. The chicks huddle nearby, flapping their wings in practice, their eyes bright with attention, absorbing every movement, every crouch, every hunting signal. Night brings a temporary respite. The tundra transforms into a silent, white expanse under the faint starlight. Yet survival is never far from the gyrfalcon's mind. Even in stillness, it observes smells, sounds, and movements, attentive to the subtle changes in its surroundings. Tomorrow will demand hunting, crouching, territorial surveillance, and teaching the chicks. Meanwhile, in North America, golden light spills over the mosaic of fields, stretching from horizon to horizon. Rows of corn stalks sway gently in the morning breeze. Hedges and fences crisscross the farmland, creating shaded areas where mice and voles can run unseen. A red-tailed hawk, Buteo jamaicensis, glides on the first thermals, wings outstretched and talons tucked close to its body. Its reddish tail gleams in the sunlight. Its piercing gaze scans the landscape, its pupils narrowing as it senses movement among the brown and green. Perched on invisible currents, the falcon glides silently. Its head spins, scrutinizing every row of crops, every curb. A slight tremor in the grass. A vole, unaware, burrows for roots beneath the soft earth. Its muscles tense under its feathers. Its wings tilt, its tail feathers spread for balance. With a sudden drop, the hawk dives. The claws extend. The speed is low and true. The vole tries to escape, but with a precise strike it is caught. The hawk soars, slicing through the morning air with its wings and intertwined talons. Landing on a solitary branch, sheltered by a hedge and a tree, the red-tailed hawk begins to feed. The sharp beak tears efficiently. Meanwhile, one eye constantly scans the surroundings. Crows circle overhead, hoping to snatch scraps. The hawk spreads its wings briefly, a warning. The crows scatter. Below, the fields continue their quiet rhythm. Rabbits freeze, small birds huddle together, and the hawk remains perched. The midday thermals rise from the sun-warmed fields. The falcon spreads its wings, gliding effortlessly, riding invisible currents. Each movement conserves energy, allowing for long periods of observation. Its sharp call echoes across the fields, a piercing, resonant cry that marks its territory. Other hawks might respond. Birds of prey are precise when it comes to conflict. Injuries can be fatal and energy is precious. Spring changes the rhythm. Air shows are intensifying. The falcon soars high above the fields, spiraling, diving and screeching. Its talons gleam in the sun during its dive-flying practice. These displays communicate strength to rivals and readiness to mates. They build their nests in sturdy trees or along rocky outcrops. The branches are bent and covered with twigs and leaves. Inside these nests, the eggs shine with pale shells speckled with brown. The young emerge with bright eyes and fragile but eager bodies. The parents alternate between hunting and guarding, bringing prey back to the nest, sometimes tearing it apart for easy consumption. The chicks watch intently, their feathers ruffled with curiosity. Every step the father takes is a lesson in rhythm, positioning, and speed. The young birds imitate, practice, and fail repeatedly, A failed attempt is instructive. Success breeds confidence. Wings stretch, talons sharpen, instincts awaken. Competition is everywhere. Other falcons patrol the same farmlands, looking for opportunities. Owls claim the twilight hours. Scavengers, like raccoons and foxes, are always on the lookout for abandoned prey. The red-tailed hawk must maintain its dominance. One swift dive, a flash of talons, and the intruders are driven off. The hunt is not constant. Rest and observation periods are as important as the walking itself. The afternoon brings a tranquil rhythm. The falcon perches in a hidden tree, its feathers ruffled to conserve heat. It keeps its eyes alert. The young birds, perched nearby, attempt short flights and practice dives onto sticks or small rodents under watchful supervision. Calls are exchanged between the parents and the chicks. Autumn arrives, bringing changes to thermal currents and prey behavior. Migration intensifies in some populations. In others, hunting patterns adapt to shorter days and longer shadows. Thermal currents become guides for efficient flight, allowing the falcon to glide farther with less energy. The red-tailed hawk adapts, timing its hunts with precision. Even small changes in wind, shadow, or sound are signs of movement. The falcon survives in farmland, along river corridors, and in open woodlands. Its plumage, its deep chestnut tail, its barred underwings, and its elegant greyish back serve as both camouflage and a signal. Its talons and beak, lethal instruments, are honed through constant practice. Each day, the falls and glides reinforce the dominance over the prey and the territory. Each interaction with competitors, hawk, owl, crow, or raccoon, teaches moderation, assertiveness, and efficiency. At dusk, the hawk perches again. Thermal currents dissipate with the setting sun. The air cools and the shadows lengthen. The eyes scan every whisper. A final phone call tears through the air. The chicks perch, flapping their wings, preparing to dream of flight. The adults remain alert and vigilant. In the cultivated area, under the rising sun and waning moon, the red-tailed sparrowhawk dominates the thermals. It glides, crouches, feeds, and teaches. Across fields, cliffs, and river corridors, this predator reigns supreme. Even as night falls, the rust-colored tail glows faintly in the fading light. Its talons curl around the branch, its wings folded against the wind. Its eyes remain ever vigilant. Tomorrow will bring new onslaughts, new lessons, new struggles for dominance and survival. Miles away, the forested hills of Central Africa stretch endlessly, a rippling sea of green, dotted with emergent trees that rise above the canopy. Sunlight filters through layers of leaves, casting dappled shadows across a carpet of ferns and tangled vines. The air is filled with the smell of earth, dampness, and life. Perched motionless on a huge branch, the African crowned eagle, Stephanoetus coronatus, blends almost perfectly with the dark foliage. Its plumage is dark brown on the back, fading to barred grey on the underparts. The bird of prey is crowned by a distinctive pointed crest that subtly widens at the slightest disturbance. Sharp, golden eyes scan the forest floor with relentless patience, searching for antelopes grazing in the undergrowth or monkeys swinging in the canopy. Hours pass without a single movement. The eagle's body remains completely still. Then, a subtle movement. A duiker moves among the ferns, unaware of the predator above. Muscles tense beneath the feathers, wings stiffen. In an instant, the eagle falls. Gravity accelerates the attack, wings folded, body streamlined, talons extended like scythes. The duiker freezes, but it's too late. With a thunderous impact, the eagle strikes. The claws close around the animal's torso. The strength is astonishing. Often, the prey matches the eagle's weight. Muscles tense, feathers bristle from the sudden updraft, and in a matter of seconds, the predator is soaring. The hunt is only the first act. The eagle perches on a sturdy branch, still clutching its prey. The eating is slow, almost ritualistic. The claws tear slices of peak. His eyes scan constantly, searching for opportunistic scavengers, monkeys, monitor lizards, or even competing eagles. A single distraction could mean losing his hard-earned meal. Solitude is survival. The forest comes alive around him. The birdsong echoes, the insects are buzzing, the distant primates chat. Courtship is a dance of both voice and flight. Pairs mate for life, and each bond is strengthened by synchronized songs in the sky, long, resonant cries that echo off the hills and soaring flights above the canopy. Wings outstretched, talons barely touching in graceful brushes through the air. The territory is claimed and defended. Next comes nesting. They begin with a single branch. The female grasps it first, testing its weight by moving it between her talons, while the male hovers nearby, scanning the forest floor for the next suitable piece. High in the canopy, they have already chosen their spot. It is a wide fork in an ancient tree. Here, African crowned eagles will raise their young. The female presses down on the branch, holding it with the curve of her claws. Another branch follows and then another. Soon the pair moves with a rhythm that is both instinctive and deliberate. He brings the longest sticks, sometimes almost as long as he is, as she arranges them, weaving one over the other. Soon the growing platform begins to take shape. Next, moss is added, soft green patches plucked from nearby trunks and carefully carried between sturdy stems. Fresh leaves and twigs are tucked into the crevices, cushioning the inside of the bowl and masking the nest's scent from prying noses. Day after day, the structure grows. What begins as a pile of loose branches grows into a sprawling fortress, wide enough to support an adult eagle and deep enough to house a clutch of fragile eggs. Each morning, the eagles return with broken branches, supple vines, and fresh leaves to line the interior. As the days turn into weeks, the nest becomes a monument. The wind blows through the canopy, but the structure barely trembles. Rain falls in bursts, and yet the nest holds. Its bowl remains dry and safe beneath the expanse of leaves. When at last the female settles in the center, the moss is soft beneath her. The nest is ready. Inside these nests, the eggs gleam pale, speckled with brown. Incubation is meticulous. The parents take turns, keeping a watchful eye while the other hunts. The chicks emerge slowly. Soft feathers cover their small bodies and their crests are barely visible. Weeks turn into months. The claws are sharpened, the wings strengthen. Hunting instincts awaken. The young ones first try to hunt small prey. Rodents, birds, occasionally monkeys, learning to time their attacks, grip their talons precisely and stalk patiently. Mistakes are common, but soon they will hunt on their own. Territorial disputes are infrequent but spectacular when they occur. Another crowned eagle might appear. Talons flash, wings beat in furious arcs, cries echo through the canopy. Sometimes the confrontation becomes a display of intimidation, spiraling flights, short passes, and flapping wings to assert dominance without causing injury. But when necessary, air strikes are carried out without hesitation. Even in moments of rest, the eagle is alert. Perched on a high branch, its feathers ruffled by the moisture and wind, its eyes scan the forest. Its wings are outstretched for balance. The forest teems with life, but the presence of the crowned eagle dominates. Mornings are often spent monitoring patience. The movements of prey, the sounds of the forest, and thermal currents are assessed. The midday thermals allow for effortless gliding, the wings catching the rising air as the eagle soars over the hills, always looking ahead. Hunting expeditions are carried out in the afternoon. Young people learn first through observation and then through practice. The parents allow the chicks to attempt small descents from lower branches, gradually increasing the height and difficulty. Their talons gleam as they catch small prey before attempting larger animals. Each successful catch builds their confidence. Failure requires patience and caution. As night falls, the forest glows with a fading amber light. Shadows lengthen across the treetops, and the eagle perches in its territory, its crest slightly raised and its talons firmly gripping. Its cries echo through the hills, resonating through the canopy. The young people crowd together nearby, feathers moving, bright eyes, minds absorbing every movement, every step, each lesson. The night brings a temporary silence. The forest rests, but the crowned eagle remains vigilant, its muscles tense at the occasional call or change of prey. Its feathers bristle in the damp night air. Its talons grip tightly. Tomorrow will bring more hunts, training, and vigilance. Meanwhile, miles away to the north, in Europe, the first light of dawn shines on the river, turning waves into molten silver. The fog rises from the water, twisting among rushes and low branches. Along the shore, the air is heavy with the smell of wet earth and brackish water. Above, a solitary osprey, Pandion haliaetus, glides, beating its wings with a slow, measured rhythm. Its white underparts gleam against the pale sky, contrasting sharply with the dark band across its breast and the striking mask that frames its amber eyes. The river below teems with life. However, much of it is invisible to the untrained eye. But not for the osprey. The muscles curl beneath dense feathers. The claws extend like polished hooks. The osprey circles in the air, gliding with precision, searching for movement beneath the water's surface. A silver flash, a ripple breaks the stillness. A fish, unconscious, swimming near the surface. The osprey lowers its wings, folding them partially, and begins its descent. The claws pierce the water with a loud splash. A thrashing fish is caught, its scales gleaming in the morning light. The osprey soars, its wings slicing through the fresh air, the fish held firmly, lifted effortlessly. Landing on a high branch, the osprey perches, digging its talons into the bark. The fish is carefully shredded. While feeding, one eye constantly scans the surroundings. Other ospreys or herons may watch, opportunistic, waiting for scraps. Any distraction could cost them their meal. Feeding is precise, deliberate, and solitary when necessary. A ballet of efficiency perfected over thousands of generations. Throughout the morning, the dives are repeated, but it must return to the nest. The adult osprey approaches from upwind, wings held firm, the fish with its head forward to reduce drag. Below, the chicks, still wrapped in their mottled grey down, raise their heads in unison. Soft, high-pitched calls echo through the nest. The adult lands with practiced grace. The claws loosen their grip so the fish can settle instead of falling, preventing the chaotic pushing and shoving that a fight between growing siblings might cause. Each chick is guided to its assigned spot, gently nudging it. Instruction is developed through repetition and observation. The adult conducts each lesson in full view of everyone, the body's inclination before a dive, the precise moment the wings lock, the sudden drop that throws a clean sheet of dew from the surface of the water. The chicks observe, memorizing. When they begin to practice on the edge of the nest, small experiments unfold, jumps that mimic takeoff, clumsy lunges on twigs that imitate fish, vigorous wing beats that stir up loose moss, forming swirling halos. Failures happen often. A stick slips from their hands. A simulated attack lands too slowly. A tentative plan ends in an awkward fight, but the adults never intervene harshly. With each misstep, a new understanding takes root. Muscles strengthen, reflexes sharpen, and confidence grows. Soon, the whole nest becomes a lively training ground where instinct meets practice, and every stumble becomes a step closer to mastery. As the sun rises, thermal currents begin to rise along the riverbank. During mating season, pairs parade each other, their wings brushing in fleeting mid-flight contact. They present themselves in the air. Their aerial songs resonate, long and continuous, echoing throughout the river valley. These displays strengthen their bonds and ensure cooperation. Nesting begins in earnest with the arrival of spring. The life of the osprey is migratory. Winters take her to southern waters, where fish abound and the climate is milder. Spring brings the return to her native rivers, to her family nests, to the territory carefully defended year after year. The cycle of hunting, teaching, defense, and courtship repeats itself. Today, the afternoon descends gently over the river. Thermal currents dissipate, shadows lengthen, and the air cools. The adult osprey perches on the nest, gripping tightly with its talons and folding its wings to protect itself from the evening breeze. The chicks huddle together, preening each other and practicing small wing beats. The adults call out softly, observing the river, the nearby trees, and the sky. Night bathes the water in a silvery glow. The adult osprey remains alert, its head circling, scanning for the slightest ripple. Its talons grip tightly, its feathers lightly ruffled in the cool night air. The young birds rest near the nest. There will be new dives tomorrow, new lessons, new challenges for competitors, more opportunities to catch prey from the shimmering river below. Meanwhile, in North America, the forest awakens with a symphony of whispering leaves, birds singing, the faint sounds of creatures in the undergrowth. Sunlight filters through the dense canopy, casting irregular shadows on the forest floor. The branches are tightly intertwined, creating a labyrinth of green, brown, and gold. Within this labyrinth, a common goshawk, Accipiter gentilis, waits, perched on a thick branch. Its slate-grey back blends perfectly into the shadows. Its pale underparts, with fine horizontal bars, give it a ghostly presence. Its piercing yellow eyes watch for any movement. The forest is full of potential prey, unaware of the predator that silently stalks above. Suddenly, a squirrel darts along a branch, its tail twitching nervously. Its muscles tense beneath its thick feathers, its wings flex, ready for precision. With a sudden burst of speed, the goshawk darts through the gaps, its feathers barely brushing the leaves. The claws extend and curve like hooks. The squirrel freezes, but it's too late. A flash of grey wings, and the predator strikes in mid-turn, talons digging into its target. The forest echoes with the soft swish of talons and the brief rustle of ruffled foliage. In an instant, the goshawk lands on a low branch, gripping tightly with its talons. The prey is held firmly while the wings flex to regain balance. Its beak cuts with precision, tearing the small mammal into manageable pieces. One eye constantly scans the surroundings. Crows and jays may try to steal scraps. Other goshawks may approach, assessing their territory without risk of injury. Every move is calculated. Energy conservation is vital, especially in dense forests. Throughout the morning, the hunt continues in short, explosive bursts. The goshawk flies among the thick branches, mastering tight turns, sudden drops, and rapid ascents. A pigeon, startled mid-flight, spreads its wings, but the goshawk anticipates, adjusting its trajectory with its talons ready. Speed, rhythm, and precision converge in a lethal ballet. Between hunts, the raptor rests, preening its feathers, vocalizing sharp calls that echo through the canopy, marking its territory and warning intruders of its presence. Spring transforms the forest. The courtship begins with aerial displays that dazzle with their speed and skill. Male and female twist, roll, and chase each other across sunlit clearings. They beat their wings rapidly, their talons flick briefly and then retract in caresses in the air. They exchange calls, rolling, sharp and resonant, reinforcing the bonds of the couple. The nests are built high in conifers, often hidden among dense vegetation. Branches, leaves and moss form platforms sturdy enough to support the eggs and later the chicks. The eggs are carefully incubated. Both parents alternate between hunting and guarding the nest. The chicks emerge fragile, with their eyes closed and soft feathers that offer them little protection. The growth is meticulous. The parents constantly feed the chicks, teaching them about prey, balance, and wing coordination. The young birds watch every crouch, every turn, every rapid ascent through the trees. Their first attempts at flight are clumsy. They can't reach the branches. Their talons are misaligned, but every mistake sharpens instincts. Hunting skills develop gradually. First small mammals, then birds, and finally high-speed aerial chases. Territorial disputes are subtle but persistent. Other goshawks may appear, attracted by the scent of prey or the sound of their calls. The displays include rapid flights, sinuous arcs, and shimmering claws. This is generally more of a warning than a combat tactic. Sometimes the intruder retreats after a few passes. At other times, a chase ensues, zigzagging through the dense vegetation with almost reckless precision. The midday thermals filter through gaps in the canopy. The goshawk spreads its wings, gliding briefly above the tree line, searching for movement below. Each glide conserves energy. While every turn in flight tests reflexes and control, the forest is a three-dimensional puzzle. Every branch, vine, and trunk is an obstacle requiring instantaneous calculations. Claws remain curled, ready. Eyes scrutinize relentlessly. The forest teems with life, yet no one moves without being seen. The youngsters begin practicing crouching from the lower branches. They hunt stationary or slow-moving prey. The parents watch, emitting soft calls to signal danger or opportunity. They often miss. Feathers ruffle and wings beat frantically as they try to regain control. Successful catches are celebrated with quiet calls or by carefully feeding their siblings. As nightfall approaches, the adult goshawk perches high above. Their eyes remain attentive to the last movements of the day. The young birds huddle together nearby, flapping their wings, watching, imitating, and preparing for practice flights in the fading light. Every movement of a tail feather, every slight tilt of the head has meaning. Spring brings mating dances. Summer perfects the skills of beginners. Autumn challenges the endurance of the hunt. Winter demands vigilance and careful energy management. At this moment, the forest teems with nocturnal life. Owls hoot, insects buzz, and small mammals scurry under cover of darkness. The northern goshawk remains alert. Its muscles relax slightly, but its talons remain ready. The eyes detect the slightest movement in the shadows. The wings adjust subtly against the wind. Tomorrow will bring new descents, flights, dives, and lessons. Back to the old world. The savanna stretches out in golden waves under the morning sun. The tall grasses sway in the rhythm of the wind. Acacia trees define the landscape, casting thin shadows across the undulating terrain. Perched atop a solitary hawthorn tree, the martial eagle, Polymatus bellicosus, surveys the plains. Its dark brown back and barred underparts blend seamlessly with the horizon. Its head is majestic, its amber eyes intense, alert to the slightest sign. This is all it takes to betray a hidden animal. The wings, enormous and powerful, flex gently in anticipation of action. With muscles coiled beneath its dense plumage, the eagle glides briefly above the acacia, using a thermal updraft to effortlessly maintain its position. A young impala grazes near a sun-drenched watering hole. Its small body is barely half the size of an adult. His ears twitch at distant sounds, unaware of the shadow forming above. High atop the thermals, a martial eagle soars, its amber eyes scanning every movement. An adult impala is far beyond its reach, but this young one, light and fragile, is within its grasp. With a sudden flap of its massive wings, the eagle launches itself forward. Then he folds them, giving them a stylized shape. Gravity and force combine, pulling it down. Its talons, enormous and curved like steel hooks, extend with precision. The impala senses the shadow too late. It kicks, thrashes, and dives, its hooves striking clods of earth, but the eagle's strike is unerring. The claws slam into the small flank. The force is sufficient to nail and crush simultaneously. In an instant, the struggle and the resistance are overcome. Muscles ripple beneath the sleek feathers as the eagle soars, talons still firmly gripping its trembling prey. The wind whistles past its hooked beak, and its feathers ruffle in controlled bursts as it gains altitude. The eagle traces an arc across the savanna. The eyes, always alert, search for opportunistic scavengers, hyenas lurking in the shadows. The lions soar above the tall grass. But his authority is clear. A sharp vocalization resounds, a warning and a demand. Landing on a sturdy, isolated acacia branch, the eagle drags the impala into the dappled shade. There, far from the prying eyes of potential thieves, its beak tears through the muscle, its talons anchor the carcass, and each bite conserves energy. Throughout the day, the hunt is intermittent and measured. The martial eagle relies as much on patience as on strength. Monitor lizards creep cautiously across the sun-warmed rocks, warthogs root in the dry earth, and herds of antelope move nervously across the plains. Every potential prey is assessed: size, energy cost, risk of injury. Then the eagle decides. It dives from above, wings folded for speed, talons outstretched, descending like a dark arrow upon the unsuspecting animal. The struggle is brief. The spring courtship transforms the open sky into a theater of aerial acrobatics. The pairs fly in sync, their wings cutting through the wind in perfect harmony. The claws brush against each other in the air. The songs, deep and resonant, echo across the savanna, communicating bonds and territory. The nests are monumental structures built in the strongest trees, branches intertwined to form platforms lined with grasses, feathers, and occasionally leaves. The parents alternate roles for months. One hunts, traversing hundreds of meters across the plain, while the other guards the nest, protecting the eggs or chicks from the sun, wind, and predators. The chicks grow slowly and are covered in down that blends into the shadows beneath the canopy. The food is brought in meticulously, sometimes briefly stored in nearby branches. In this way, the chicks are fed without alerting scavengers. The young birds watch, absorbing every crouch, every turn, and every dive. Their first attempts at flight are clumsy, with talons often misaligned and wings overextended. Parents encourage, silently correcting mistakes with calls or subtle positioning. As the weeks go by, the chicks practice short forays on smaller prey, gradually increasing the complexity and distance. Success comes with repetition. During the dry months, prey move across the plains in unpredictable patterns. Eagles fly higher, scanning further, wings constantly beating to conserve energy during long flights. The stairs are longer, more calculated dives. Each strike requires perfect execution, Lions and hyenas devour carcasses, testing the eagle's resolve. Occasionally, clashes erupt, wings are raised, talons flash, and cries pierce the air. Each challenge asserts dominance, protects the prey, and teaches the chicks the limits of power. Daily life alternates between intense hunting and patient vigilance. Thermal currents rising from the sun-warmed earth effortlessly lift the eagle, allowing it to glide for long periods while its eyes scan the subtle movements below. Shadows on the grass, ripples on the water, flashes of fur or feathers, each represents a potential opportunity or threat. Energy is conserved. The movements are precise. Every step is calculated to achieve maximum efficiency. Evening falls over the savannah. The golden light softens, long shadows lengthen, and the air cools. A martial eagle perches atop a tall acacia, its talons firmly gripping and its wings gently folded against the wind. Its chicks huddle nearby. The calls echo softly across the savannah, marking their territory, teaching the chicks, strengthening the bonds between couples. The night brings tranquility. The eagle remains vigilant, its muscles relaxed but ready. Their ever-vigilant eyes detect the slightest movement, nocturnal prey, prowling scavengers, or the approach of rivals. Even at rest, the rhythms of hunting, teaching, and territorial defense continue, driven by instinct and anticipation. Even when the stars appear, the claws grip firmly, wings folded with precision, the feathers ruffled slightly in the afternoon breeze. Tomorrow promises new hunts, new lessons, and new challenges. This is the life of these amazing birds of prey.